So we've got a little bit more movement when it comes to Nintendo Switch successor, and we've got some big information on some RPGs and RPG news that should be music to your ears, especially if you love Square Enix and NIS America / Falcom games coming over quicker to the US and just localizations in general. So we got a lot to talk about. Before we get into that, what's good everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my Nintendo Switch and RPG videos first. And let's go ahead and jump right into, I wouldn't say a shocking piece of information, but definitely something that gained a little bit of traction, especially from a friend of the channel. So shout outs to my man Paul Gale Network over there at the Paul Gale Network channel. He is an industry analyst. He is someone who sets up, he has like an Indie Mania event that he's doing that's partnered with IGN. He's been in the industry for a long time, going to E3s and everything. The dude is a huge Nintendo fan as well, and he definitely has some information when it comes to other things, as he's been right on a number of things before in the past. So Paul Gale recently made a Twitter post talking about some of the third-party developers and what's going to be happening with the Nintendo Switch successor. So he started out by saying this on Twitter: a few major third-party developers whom at E3 2017 weren't anticipating Nintendo Switch taking off the way it did and didn't have a AAA title at launch / the show itself, are working on big launch window releases for Nintendo's next system. Nintendo Switch 2 will have some early significant ports, parallel releases, and exclusives. I am thrilled at the prospect of what's next. So he didn't necessarily say what games they will be, but many people are already anticipating some of those titles. And this kind of crosses with some of the information that I've heard as well, but it's also kind of like, yeah, probably. If you look back at what he said here, coming off of the Wii U and coming off the 3DS that didn't get major big AAA games from third-party developers because the system just couldn't handle it. And developers obviously saw the Wii U flop. So at E3 2017 and back then, nobody really had any confidence in the Nintendo Switch, and that's completely justified overall. But when they saw the system blow up, and many developers who did take advantage of the system in the first year, for example, like Bethesda, they had great sales with games like Skyrim and Doom. I think that really kind of put them on notice when it comes to what they want to do. And many of those third-party developers did end up putting out something on the Nintendo Switch, whether it was Dark Souls remastered or just Borderlands or some of these other games that came over the years. Heck, Bandai Namco was famous for saying, man, we should have had more stuff earlier, because some of their games that they did put early in the system did really well, like the Dragon Ball Xenoverse game. So absolutely, I definitely think some of the Western developing studios and maybe even from software, something like Elden Ring is absolutely a possibility early in the Nintendo Switch's life. And I do think that the parallel releases, that's something that I feel will come as well. I mean, I think stuff like Monster Hunter Wilds, depending on when that game releases in 2025, that could absolutely be a parallel release or on the Nintendo Switch 2. And I think that there's going to be a lot more developers that are saying, hey, we're going to support this system early on because Nintendo has a clear focus, a clear plan, a clear goal for their hardware. Now, what we understand based off of what Nintendo said about the Nintendo Switch 2 is that it's going to be more iterative, and it's not going to be something that revolutionizes or tries to reset the market again. There's going to be a lot of parallel features when it comes to what they did with the Nintendo Switch. They're going to adapt and move things over. So let me give you guys an example of this. The Nintendo Switch online accounts, like the Nintendo Switch accounts, it's going to tie to the next system. This is something that Nintendo has been very, I would say, consistent on since 2020, saying, hey, whenever we do drop that next system, it is going to have the Nintendo accounts. You're going to have that same synergy with customers. Believe it or not, Nintendo, from each system to each system, brand new thing, brand new account, brand new everything. So all of your downloads or your history and all that stuff had to essentially just be stuck on that system, and things didn't transfer over. No more with the Nintendo Switch 2. They're going to have that Nintendo account. So your games, backwards compatibility, these are the type of things that I feel Nintendo is going to move over, which is one, going to make it a bit easier when it comes to having a library for people who want to pick up the Nintendo Switch 2 and just be able to play your games that maybe you didn't get into. But at the same time, developers can count on, okay, saying, all right, they're still supporting what we're doing there. we can actually put out a new game. People can go back and play the one that we had before if they want to play it on the Switch, because it'll be on that system as well. So I think that it's a completely different scenario what's going down with the Nintendo Switch 2 going into it with launch compared to the Nintendo Switch. So I'm very excited as well to see what these ports are, what these parallel releases are, and of course the exclusives. Obviously that's going to be a big thing. So in that part, he's talking about third-party exclusives, so I'm interested to see what developers do there. There were a number of third-party exclusives for the Nintendo Switch in the first year or so, and then some others that came out over the years. So let's see what happens there. But yeah, I think that Nintendo is going to have a massive launch when it comes to the launch window. So from the launch all the way to like the first 9 months, I think it's going to be a dynamic launch window with a lot of different variety of games as people are excited about the system. So what do you guys think some of these games could be for the Nintendo Switch 2, and what do you guys think Nintendo's going to do when it comes to the launch of the system? Let me know in the comment section. But let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here, and that's going to be Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake. We've got some brand new details and some new story episodes and content. This is brand new content built specifically for Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake that makes me very excited to head into this game. So publisher Square Enix and developer ArtDink Corporation have released new information and screenshots for Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake, introducing the game's new episodes focus on the protagonist's father, Ortega, as well as the game's remade world. So let's get into a little bit about Ortega and what this is about. Kind of like Bardock over here. It's the Bardock story. This remake contains several new scenes which shine a spotlight on the protagonist's father, Ortega, giving players a better understanding of the man himself and his quest. The story also features new formidable foes, which will give fans an even more enriching experience of the Dragon Quest 3 narrative. Below are some screenshots which should give you a taste of what's in store. So you got Ortega there. You can see him. He's the father to the protagonist. He is one of the finest in the land. And long ago, he did set off on a quest to rid the world of the archfiend Barmos, leaving behind his beloved wife and baby. After scouring the realm in search of Barmos, Ortega met an untimely end when he fell into the maw of a volcano during an epic battle. So it's going to be like Charizard versus Magmar. You guys remember that in the anime Pokemon? Yeah, it's going to be like that. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, I love to see when they add new content into the game, and I'm really looking forward to playing this Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake. It's dropping this November, and to be exact, November 14th. It's coming out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and PC via Steam and the Microsoft Store. I'll definitely be picking up a Nintendo Switch version and a PlayStation 5 copy of the game. So very excited for this. So what do you guys think about Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake and this revelation of a brand new story chapter with the protagonist's father as well? Let me know in the comment section. And goodness gracious, I have to just make sure I point this out because the graphics in this game, the HD 2D is by far its finest. This is Square Enix's finest HD 2D by far. It just looks spectacular as I'm going through some of the screenshots and looking at the footage of the game. So yeah, you guys can let me know in the comment section how you feel about that. But now we're going to move on to NIS America and Legend of Heroes games. We have the Ys games. It kind of takes a while for these games to be localized, and it's one of the things that people, they love these games, but it's like, man, we have to wait a year plus for them just to be localized, and it seems like no other developer is this slow in the modern day on localizing things that we know are going to get localized. It's not like it's like, okay, we don't know, and then all of a sudden they announce one. It's like, hey, they're going to get localized. It's just going to take a while. So it looks like NIS America does have something that they're cooking up to help with that. So in an interview with PC Gamer's Timothy M., NIS America's Alan Costa opened up about the publisher's plans to speed up localization and shorten the gap between Japanese and English releases for Nihon Falcom Games My Nintendo News writes. So here's what Mr. Alan Costa had to say, quote, "I can't really talk specifically to what we've done internally to do so, but I can say that we've been working hard to make sure that we do localize Falcom games more quickly. We recently announced Trails Through Daybreak 2 is coming out next year, which is a substantial cut down in terms of the timeline that we used to have the Trails games. And you can probably guess, based on the timing of this game, we are also working on Ys 10 concurrently. Now, though noting that the waiting period between original and localized release was to be expected, Costa nonetheless said that, quote, "We, NIS America, do want to bring that timeline down." Now, finding the balance between the localization speed and quality is obviously key. You're looking at stuff like Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana that had some issues when it comes to it and faced a lot of criticism. So we also had this to say on that, quote, "We do want to bring the games out as quickly as possible, but not at the expense of the localization quality. Finding that balancing act is something that we've been working on for years at this point, and we're getting better. So hopefully we can continue to see decreased time between the launch in Japan and when games come out in North America and Europe, as well as high level of localization quality." So this is something that the Nihon Falcom president also mirrored in his statement. They want games to be faster, but it's one of those things to where obviously it's a budget meets the time meets the complexity of the game. These Legend of Heroes games and Falcom games, they're huge with a ton of dialogue, and there's just so much to do. So I'm not really going to be too hard on the localization here, just because they really do try hard, and it's not like they got the resources like a Bandai Namco or like a Nintendo or like a Sony or Microsoft or something like that. They don't have those resources to where they can get people right there day and date, right there in Japan, Nihon Falcom Studios, and working back to back with the companies. I mean, maybe one of these days they will, but considering the amount of games and how much volume there is, I definitely think that it's a tough task. Remember, even the Pokemon Company, all the way up until 2013 with Pokemon X and Y, had problems with localization and getting it out in a timely fashion. And yes, those games definitely have a lot of text and a lot of translations and different things to do, but they also have a ton of money and they had resources overall with the Pokemon Company. And I know that was, 10 years ago plus at this point. What I'm just saying is that it's not as easy as it looks. And while most developers have figured out a way to get that done, I still think that there's significant challenges and hurdles for many other smaller AA type of publishers and developers, and of course indie developers that are trying to get their games out in various different regions. So I do think that it's going to continue being a challenge, but I feel that they're doing the best that they can, and they're working on multiple titles. And yeah, you don't want a bad quality localization. That's the worst thing that you can have, which we saw with Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana, where they had to completely redo things and they wasted money. So yeah, you need to have the speed, you need to have the accuracy, but you also need to make sure that you're cognizant of what's going on and what the fans are saying, because it does take some time. But if I were them, take your time, get it done, and in the meantime, we can play other games. I do feel that there's other games to play. There's plenty of Legend of Heroes games. There's plenty of Ys games to play in the meantime, or other titles, and let them make sure that they get a great localization to not put too much pressure on the team. So what do you guys think about that overall? Let me know in the comment section. But we do have one more topic here. We're going to discuss Lollipop Chainsaw, and I think they got worried about the sales of Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and the release date, so they decided to move the game up, because Dragami Games has moved up the release date of Lollipop Chainsaw RePOP from its previously planned September 25th release date to September 12th in the Americas and Europe. The company announced the final pricing has also been confirmed to be $44.99, which I don't know if I've ever seen a game launch at that price. I'm pretty sure there's been something. You guys can let me know in the chat, but a $44.99 stuff. Usually it's $39.99 or it's $49.99, but this one's $44.99, which is very awkward to look at and read off at this point, considering I haven't seen it, or at least I don't remember if there was one. But the game will be available on PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC via Steam. Now, as for the rest of Japan and Asia, the release date for Lollipop Chainsaw RePOP is unchanged and will launch on September 26th, which is right the same day as Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which I don't believe is a good idea to launch at that point. but I do feel that, hey, their biggest market for this game is absolutely going to be the US, and they don't want it to cross with The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So yeah, I think that's definitely happening there. Now, there's more information on this game. I covered it before in the past. You guys can check out more. Gamatsu has the beat on that. But yeah, I think it's a good idea to change it. You don't want to be near that game, especially if you're expecting sales on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is the first time Lollipop Chainsaw is coming to a Nintendo platform, and I'm guessing there are going to be a significant amount of people that want to play this game on the Nintendo Switch. Originally, it was a PS3 and Xbox 360 game, so I'm sure there'll be fans on those systems, but it definitely seems like this is the type of game maybe Switch fans would go out there and check out if you're into stuff like, I would say, Killer 7 and Killer is Dead, in addition to games like No More Heroes, stuff like that, right? These are the type of games that also Nintendo fans have played over the years. It's kind of weird, kind of cult niche type of classics, things like that. So I feel that it could do well on all platforms, but I definitely feel like they're saying, hey, you know, hold up, let's just kind of avoid Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom if we feel that we're going to have a good amount of people playing on the Nintendo Switch, specifically in the US. So what do you guys think overall about all the topics here? I think it was a lot of fun to go through and discuss things. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch and RPG videos right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.